points this evening. Will Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Nyay Yatra finally give a vision where the Congress is concerned and a possible answer to BJP's poll mantra, Viksit Bharat and a Ram Mandir going into 2024? Also on the show later at 9:30, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul exclusively speaks to me on lots of things, including reigniting the collegium debate. All of that's coming up next. First up, let me take you through the headlines. Congress rebranded Bharat Jodo Yatra from Jan 14, 6,200 kilometers east-west Congress Yatra to cover 14 states. Congress's bus yatra to start from Manipur and will end in Maharashtra. Days ahead of the mega Ram Mandir inauguration, Ayodhya railway station renamed to Ayodhya Dham Junction. India Today's Gaurav Sawant reports from Ayodhya. Rajnath Singh visits Poonch Rajouri sector. Defence Minister gives a stern message on civilian killings. Says it's also the responsibility of the army to win hearts of the people. Politics peaks over Home Minister CAA warning. After Amit Shah called CAA law of land, TMC and Congress hit out. Ask why CAA only in opposition-ruled states. Language row reignites in Karnataka after pro-Kannada activists go on a rampage in Bengaluru, blackening English posters, billboards and nameplates. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah assures action against vandals. Muslim League Jammu Kashmir Masarat Alam faction, which has been involved in anti-national activities, has been banned by centre for 5 years under UAPA. A horrifying incident unfolds in Jaipur where a woman was killed and her friend severely injured after a man allegedly hit them with his car following a verbal spat. Dense fog and low visibility disrupt flights operations in Delhi. Over 100 domestic and foreign flights delayed. KL Rahul scores a magnificent century at the Centurion against South Africa. The ton helps India reach a decent total of 245 runs.
From KL Rahul.
Our top story now, the Congress has announced a Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0. Rahul Gandhi will be undertaking a new yatra, this time with a new name as well, from east to the west, from Manipur to Mumbai. The phase will be called the Bharat Nyay Yatra and is likely to set the narrative for the Congress campaign. Meanwhile, the BJP has already set the ground. Here is a report on how two national parties are bracing for the big fight leading up to the big 2024 elections.
The bugle is yet to be sounded, but the generals are busy marshalling troops for Mission 2024. The Congress on Wednesday announced Phase 2 of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra in a new avatar, the Bharat Nyay Yatra, that will start from Imphal on January 14th and end on March 20th in Mumbai.
This yatra will cover a distance of 6,200 kilometers. This yatra is covering 14 states and 85 districts.
The yatra will be in hybrid mode. Most of it will be by bus with some stretches of Padyatra. Its theme will be different from Phase 1 that focused on communal harmony.
भारत जोड़ो यात्रा के दौरान राहुल जी ने 3 मुद्दे उठाए थे। आर्थिक विषमताओं के बारे में उन्होंने जिक्र किया, सामाजिक ध्रुवीकरण के बारे में उन्होंने बातचीत की और राजनीतिक तानाशाही जो आज हमारे देश में हकीकत बन गई है उसके बारे में जनता को अवगत कराया।
The BJP top brass is already in election mode. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached out to the Christian and Sikh communities this week.
Thank you.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah and BJP President JP Nadda were in Bengal on Tuesday, where they set the state leadership the target of winning 35 out of 42 Lok Sabha seats.
24 और 26 के चुनाव की जीत की नींव डालने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एक एक कार्यकर्ता का है, परंतु सबसे ज्यादा जिम्मेदारी अगर किसी की है तो मेरे सोशल मीडिया वॉलंटियर्स की है, साइबर योद्धाओं की है।
The BJP has already worked out a battle plan. Sources tell India Today the party will announce candidates for over 150 weak seats early. The BJP will open offices in every Lok Sabha seat by January 30th, and these will start functioning even before the announcement of candidates. A Gaon Chalo Abhiyan covering 7 lakh villages will be held in January and February. There will be meetings with social media influencers in every zone. On January 24th, which is a National Voters' Day, the Yuva Morcha will meet new voters at 5,000 locations across the country. 3 to 4 Lok Sabha seats will be made a cluster, and senior leaders will be in charge of each cluster. The Ram Mandir inauguration on January 22nd will become the cornerstone of the BJP campaign. A series of events are lined up ahead of the Mandir opening, and these will coincide with Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Nyay Yatra. Politics is set to hit boiling point amidst January's winter chill this time. Bureau Report, India Today.
So the question that we asked this evening before we go into our political panel is Mission 2024 a battle of two very separate narratives? Can Bharat Nyay Yatra offer an alternate narrative, a vision of sorts? Will Rahul become the Congress campaign face, and will Prime Minister's Viksit Bharat pledge work? And possibly the Congress find an answer to that. Is Ram Mandir BJP's major poll plank? All of that coming up in the next 20 minutes. Joining me this evening is Dr. Ajoy Kumar, Congress spokesperson, Syed Zafar Islam, Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, Rahul Verma, Fellow Centre for Policy Research. Dr. Kumar, to begin with you, sir, good evening. The fact is, from what was your first yatra, the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and now the Bharat Nyay Yatra, different demography, different topography, a very different political landscape. While one should encourage expeditions, political and otherwise, but self-indulgence, just few months before elections, when possibly you could be sitting with your alliance partner, seat sharing, strategizing, finding a narrative, many would say it's self-indulgence. You're just trying to, resurrect the image of the Congress where you've got lots of work on the table.
No, Preeti, I think it's very strange. When we started the Bharat Jodo Yatra, there was the question of self-indulgence.
Dr. Kumar, can we correct your audio? There's a problem with your audio. We're going to just try and correct Dr. Kumar's audio. We're getting a lot of surround sound. But, I'll cut across to Rahul Verma first, and then we'll go on to our political panelists. Rahul Verma, to compare the Bharat Jodo Yatra to now the Bharat Nyay Yatra, very different political landscape, both demography, topography. If you're to compare the both, and if you're going to, juxtapose it, especially now the 14 states that this yatra is going to go through, to the results of each of these states on what they were in 2019, the Congress practically ended up with a knot. It's passing through West Bengal, beginning in, Manipur, where out of 2 it had 0 seats. It's going through states like Uttar Pradesh, where it had 1, where in Bihar of 40 seats it had 2, where, 1 seat out of 42 seats in Bengal, 25 out of 25 wiped out in the favor of BJP in Rajasthan. Similarly, 26 out of 26 wiped out in Gujarat, and just 1 out of 80 in a state like Uttar Pradesh. And 1 out of 29 in MP.
Thank you, Preeti. See, I don't think the question, should be whether this sort of like the states that Congress is going to cover now, they didn't do well in these states in 2019. Because frankly, 2014 and 2019 were very, very difficult results for the Congress party. So except couple of states in the south, Congress party did not perform that well in terms of seats. So I don't think that should be the parameter of where they should go or not go. But I think your intent behind the question is, which you posed to Mr. Kumar, is shouldn't the Congress party actually sitting with allies and figuring out the strategy for the election? Yatra is fine, good. I think parties should definitely be on the ground, listen to voters, and perhaps use some of the sentiments expressed on the ground to sort of like strategize for their campaign trail. But it's now too late and too little. I think there was, of course, when the Bharat Jodo Yatra round one happened, it generated a lot of excitement, helped the Congress party at least, gave
The cadre,
the party
yes.
some momentum. But I think like now, within last year, party, especially after losing these three states in the northern India, the party is sitting on a very, very sticky wicket. And if the allies see this as another attempt by the Congress party to basically get a leg up in the negotiation, another thing, I think there would be a trouble brewing in the alliance.
All right, okay, let's, while we are going to connect to Dr. Kumar, I want to cut across to Syed Zafar Islam. Syed Zafar Islam, if you look at the Bharatiya Janata Party, you guys are much ahead. You on the ball. You have the Viksit Sankalp Yatra, which, today we heard the Prime Minister at with one of the functions there. You have the Ram Mandir, then you have the La Bharati factor. You have all of them working together, while by the end of 24 January, you're already going to come up with a list of names on your weakest seats. Is this also a reaction to possibly the India Alliance now finally getting its act together, setting itself 31st December as a seat sharing date? So is there a sense of discomfort there that stems from how you've quickly decided to move on?
Well, see, we are not even concerned, forget about overly concerned about all this yatra and what India Alliance meeting, this Kamandiya Gathbandhan meeting they are organizing, because I know that these meetings have it's unproductive meetings for them, because no outcome so far. And even if they should decide the number of seats for each party, but there's a lot of difference undercurrent between all the parties. So we are not concerned. We are focusing on our work. See, Viksit Sankalp Bharat Yatra is primarily for the beneficiaries of the welfare scheme. And those who are left, there are two sets of people who are already getting eligible and getting the benefit. Mm-hmm. And there are some people who are eligible, but yet not receive the benefit because of XYZ reason. And as the Honorable Prime Minister said, that hum aapke paas aa rahe hain, aapko jodne ke liye. So we are working towards that.
But Syed Zafar Islam, you can't deny the fact that the Bharat Jodo Yatra in its first version did, for one, where the cadre of the Congress is concerned, completely re-energized. And on ground, you did see impact.
No, on ground, there was absolutely no impact. See, Gujarat, when he was undertaking Yatra, Bharat Jodo Yatra, that time, they lost Gujarat massively. Then
so they've lost Rajasthan, they've lost Gujarat, they've won Telangana, they've won Himachal. So there are states that they've won as well, on which the Bharat Jodo Yatra passed from.
So they have to see if their strength is only in two states. If they are only trying to project these two states, fine, that is good for them. But let me tell you very honestly, even those states, when the general election will happen, in Karnataka, we will win every single seat. This time they are not going to win even one seat. And in Telangana, we will get at least out of 17, 10 seats, 9 to 10 seats we will win. So what is the impact they will have?
All right, okay, let me bring it. Okay, I want to bring in Dr. Kumar back into the conversation if his audio is fixed. Dr. Kumar, the question that I asked, there's nothing wrong in political expeditions, Dr. Kumar, but the problem arises when it occurs at the cost of your own alliance, where you're yet to get your act together, you're less than 5 months away from elections, and now you're embarking on a 90-day yatra. Is it just pure self-indulgence? Too late. You should have done this earlier if this is what you wanted.
So, Preeti, first of all, apologies for the, for the bad lighting. I mean, I was.
So the lighting was perfect, but you're taking a walk this evening. But fine, no problem.
I'm not taking a walk at all. I'm trying to find the best place to get a good light.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's all for India today. So just
we appreciate it, sir. We appreciate it.
So Preeti, I was hearing Zafar speaking just now. So my question is, the Bharat Jodo Yatra was a historical yatra. Whether they want to say what is the results of the election, Karnataka wherever the yatra went, the performance was significantly, whether it was Karnataka, whether it was Telangana, even in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, much as the Bharatiya Janata Party would like to keep claiming, the data has shown that we had 10 lakh votes more than the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, they did a better election management, and you need to give them certain amount of credit on that. But what is this Nyay Yatra? The Nyay Yatra says that the women in this country, there is no political justice in the country. Oppositions are being raided. The voice of the oppositions are being stifled. There is no communal justice in the country. Communities are being attacked. And there is no economic justice in the country. And that's the three main themes of this yatra. That is, there is Nyay for economic freedom, Nyay for spiritual freedom, and Nyay for political freedom. Now, believe me, when we start from Imphal and reach Mumbai, whether Zafar will keep creating stories, you will see the impact. You'll see the impact in the Lok Sabhas of Odisha. You'll see the impact of Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra. And they don't seem to understand. I mean, I was hearing Zafar telling me about Karnataka. I have a reasonable, decent understanding of Telangana and Karnataka because I've spent quite a bit of time in the past year. So the yatra will capture the imagination because people
But Dr. Kumar, may I just interject, sir? And the question I want to ask you is, you talk about creating history. The fact is, you need to fight an election, not create history. You need to fight an election and possibly win it and not try and capture the imagination of people or resurrect the Congress party and the image of it. Many would suggest it's already too late. It's time for you to sit down with the India Alliance and strategize and broker the best possible fight and create a possible narrative for your alliance and not possibly regrowth for your own party.
So let me put it this way. So I'm in charge of 2 states. Now, we are very much in discussion with the alliance partners. But if you understand, if you need to mobilize the people of this country, our work continues, The Bharatiya Janata Party may not be able to work in parallel. I mean, that's their problem. Or only Modi ji and Amit Shah ji decide and then they work. That's a different issue. But the Congress party has this whole team working on. We have the alliance discussions happening.
Are you going to, before I go to Syed Zafar Islam, I want to ask you, Dr. Kumar, are you going to keep your deadline of seat sharing of 31st December because time's running out, sir?
Yes, so ma'am. We are already very much in discussion. We finished, we have the discussion on 29th and 30th. We will get everybody. 29th and 30th when we finish the Congress perspective from all states. And then our discussions, and already the discussions have been on. It's not that we have not been discussing with them. I'll just add, I'll finish off with a very important point. They might go on the temple issue. They might go on other issues. They realize that the people of this country are deeply unhappy with the unemployment and the economic.
But no, Dr. Kumar, I'll cut across to Syed Zafar Islam. The fact is, they at least have an issue. You've counted 3 on your own. Many would turn around and say, what is your issue? What is your narrative? Because you're embarking on another yatra, but the messaging is unclear, sir. And you know that better. I'll come back to you and I'll cut across to Rahul Verma as well on this. But Syed Zafar Islam, you wanted to, come in and interject. Go ahead, sir. Make your point.
Well, you were posing these questions. What is the purpose of this yatra? And Dr. Ajoy Kumar conveniently avoided responding to you. Let me tell you the truth. And I'm sure that everyone within the Congress party knows this truth, but he will definitely have a lot of hesitation in sharing with the rest of the world. Fact that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is on a picnic. This picnic has been organized by the party to keep him away from the election campaign and election work. He is somebody like a child who is trying to indulge in everything within the party, and somehow within the party, everybody seems to be unhappy with his conduct, and they feel uncomfortable. So conveniently, he has been put on a 6,200 kilometer long picnic trip. So let him enjoy the picnic while rest of the other thing which they have objective, maybe the outcome could be that disintegrated workforce within the Congress party, perhaps they are thinking that he will be able to re-energize, unify the workforce.
Dr.
But
Syed
that
Zafar
could
Islam,
be
one might say that this is a self-indulgent exercise of Rahul Gandhi, but you and I both know, sir, there's enough evidence to prove it gets under your skin. During Bharat Jodo
No,
Yatra,
not at all.
sir,
Let
you
me
and I
tell you.
both know. You and I both know that it was somewhere down the line he did get under your skin with what was going on.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Let me tell you one more thing.
Go ahead, sir.
See, the Congress party is saying that he is not there to seek votes. I mean, it's not me. I mean, the political leader who is from the first family, son of first family of the Congress party, who people draw strength from first family, and he is from the first family. Still, he is not there on this picnic to seek vote. And what does that indicate? Because they know that it will have no impact whether it seeks the vote or whether it doesn't. People will not give them any...
All right, because we'll only know. Okay.
Seriously.
But Syed Zafar Islam, we'll only know when the last vote is counted. But Rahul Verma, I'll come to you when it comes down to yatras. There's no denying,
Doctor,
and we began the conversation with the fact that Bharat Jodo Yatra in its first version did well, especially for the image of Rahul Gandhi and the cadre, re-energizing the cadre. History stands testimony. Yatras do give back. And it's happened in the case of Chandrasekhar YSR, his son Jagan Mohan Reddy, Digvijay Singh, Chandrababu Naidu, umpteen number of examples, Rahul Verma. But the Congress doing so could also work because Congress is the fulcrum of the India alliance. Congress will need to do really well for the India alliance to do well. And Congress needs to win seats in the Hindi heartland where right now it stands completely wiped out.
True, absolutely. On both counts, Preeti, I agree with you. See, there are examples of Padayatras bringing benefits to the leaders and parties, but you can also count number of yatras that have taken place in Indian politics and did not do any good. For example, the 2009 yatra, bus yatra or Rath yatra, which Lal Krishna Advani did, it didn't bring any good for the BJP or him, right? So you have examples of both the things. I think you are absolutely right. Bharat Jodo Yatra did benefit Congress party to a certain extent. But what Congress party has been doing in last several years, that it takes one step forward and then two steps backward. So Yatra did good. They after winning Karnataka, I think there was some momentum. But between and then the India Alliance meetings and everything happened in July, August, September, there was a momentum. But between October, November, December, they rattled some allies. They did not do well in the Hindi heartland. And so everything now seems to be back to square one. I don't see any problem in itself by like what Congress party and Rahul Gandhi has envisaged to do in next 2-3 months. I think all parties should be able to go on the ground and be in conversation with the voter. But as you rightly pointed out, unless Congress party performs well in its competition against BJP, there are 220 odd seats where in 2014 and 2019, Congress party lost more than 95% of those seats. So unless Congress party challenges BJP in Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Himachal, Uttaranchal, I think BJP will be very, very close to or will be within the striking distance of power. Allies, say TMC or RJD, JDU, they are anyway going to put up a challenge in their respective state. So alliance partner doing well is not going to stop BJP from within the striking distance of power, unless Congress party thinks that by doing this Nyay Yatra, they can change the electoral headwinds in some of the states where they will contest BJP.
You know, we're talking about yatras and not working. Syed Zafar Islam, like Rahul Verma mentioned, and it takes me back to the Rath Yatra, that didn't quite work. And you have a lot pinned on the Ram Mandir. So technically speaking, you know, religious politics or Ram Mandir really hasn't worked for you if you hark back into political history.
See, you are only harping on Ram Mandir. But we are talking about what we have delivered to the people. We are talking about the beneficiaries. We are talking about these schemes which we have introduced for the benefit of the common man on the street, the marginalized section of the society, the poorest section of the society. And that is something which we know that we have been able to serve the people, and we have the aspiration to continue to serve the people. People do understand that we are not here for power. position doesn't matter for even for the Prime Minister. The objective of the Prime Minister to serve the people. And that's why the differentiating factor between us and Congress party, because they are all having lust for power, be it RJD, be it Congress party, be it JDU, be it any other Mandir Gathbandhan alliance partner, they all family oriented, they all have lust for power, they have zero objective to serve the people or serve the nation. In our view, our Karyakartas have always been told, first priority is to serve the nation. So, Desh Hit Mein. Second is, of course, Rajya Hit Mein, means for serve this state. And third is, of course, serve the people. So our objective is very clear. When you serve
so basically, you're not seeking any political dividends from the Ram Mandir, though everything seemingly works in synchronization where it comes down to an event by the BJP. But okay, sir. Okay. Dr. Roy wants to, Dr. Ajay Kumar wants to come in. Go ahead, Mr. Kumar.
And tell the truth, please.
Preeti,
about the picnic.
So
Dr.
there is,
one
second. I'll talk. One second. Let me complete. First of all, political jingoism. Jingoism is the last refuge of scoundrels. You know, whenever you say desh ke hit mein, whether there are 6 people being killed in Kashmir whether it is the highest amount of employment, and I will look at their language. Here is a man who walked 4,000 kilometers. The party and the Congress party has crossed the length and breadth of this country, speaking the language, and he says picnic. Look at Gamandia Alliance. I mean, the language, these guys, this is the language which is being used by all the kind of right-wing people who have no sense of even decorum. And Zafar Islam otherwise is a reasonable man, but even the DNA of the BJP is so toxic that he has to start with words like picnic. We are touching. Are you meeting the people of India and saying that they are all wasting their time? So 6,000. We are reaching. One sec. Let me complete, sir.
Please, sir.
6,400 kilometers. We are going to reach out. That is political mobilization, which your Prime Minister will never walk even 2 kilometers because he needs a helicopter, and your Home Minister may not be able to walk more than 2 kilometers. I don't want to comment on the status of his. One sec. But I'll tell you the most important thing. Prime Minister says forecast. That is the problem in this country. Poor farmers, youth, women. The highest poverty in this country right now. The highest, that is poor. The highest unemployment in youth in this country. That is how much he's bothered about the youth. They're saying we serve the people. The highest number of non-participation of women in workforce and anemia in this country is women and farmers. So all forecasts, according to BJP, which they're saying they're forecast.
Dr. Ajay Kumar, look at the irony. But look at the irony on all of it, sir, because the Hindi heartland includes all of these forecasts and testimony in terms of numbers stand that they all voted for the BJP. Not all, but a sizable chunk of that. That's where the irony lies.
But I'll tell you one thing. They lost one side. They lost the last. You remember they lost Madhya Pradesh? They have no lust for power. They
didn't lose Madhya Pradesh.
No lust for power.
They won Madhya Pradesh.
One sec. When we won Madhya Pradesh, they tried to break, they spent crores, but they have no lust for power.
But come on, okay, Dr. Kumar, you had, Dr. Kumar, especially at the back of a stolen mandate, you have every opportunity to come back. That was an election, sir, that you lost on your watch. That election is on you. It's not on the BJP. All right, okay. Syed Zafar Islam, last final words. Rahul Verma smiling away, just 10 seconds each. Syed Zafar Islam, last word and then we'll move on.
Say, I'm not trying to say anything negative about the prospect of India Alliance, but everyone knows that they have very limited prospect. And as far as 2024 is concerned, it's a done deal as far as Bharatiya Janata Party and India is concerned, because people have made up their mind to bless NDA.
Rahul Verma, if you as an analyst and someone who knows the numbers and who studied the system, if you had to lay bets and hedge bets, do you think the Bharat Nyay Yatra will work or not work?
Depends what they want to work it for. Is it about just winning 2024? I think that bet is now very, very difficult to place on. But if this is an attempt to rebuild the Congress party, if it is an attempt to basically look for a long-haul revival of the Congress party, I think all these yatras are important. But if Congress party keeps doing this which is what it has been
But
doing.
ultimately, it's about to win elections.
Taking one step forward and two steps backward, it won't help.
All right, we're going to leave it at that. We'll give you the benefit of doubt, Dr. Kumar. We'll see how that goes, and especially how you work it out with your India Alliance partners. 90 days yatra, less than 5 months away from elections. Interesting where television is concerned. We're going to enjoy it. Thank you, Dr. Islam, Dr. Kumar, and Rahul Verma. With that, let me quickly shift focus to the other developing news. The language row escalating in Karnataka. Pro-Kannada activists from Kannada Rakshasa Vedika held a protest demanding that all businesses and enterprise in Karnataka use nameplates written in Kannada. During the protest, they vandalized nameplates and sprayed black ink on those written in English. Here's more.
Shops vandalized, luxury stores attacked. Language activists rampage across the streets of Bengaluru days after the city civic body slapped notices on commercial establishments to sport signages in Kannada. Karnataka Rakshana Vedika workers led by Narayana Gowda smashed glass doors and destroyed English signboards of multiple businesses in the IT city on Wednesday.
It is very disappointing that the commercial establishments are not following the law of the land, and also government is not ready to implement the order which is passed by the government itself.
Narayana Gowda, who was later detained, declared only those who have signboards in Kannada will be allowed to do business in Karnataka.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಳಿಗೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡದ ನಾಮಫಲಕ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು, ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನ ಬಳಸಬೇಕು. ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಳಸಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ.
Karnataka Rakshana Vedike workers have now once again decided to take law into their own hands. They've come down to the Lavelle Street, which is one of the most busiest central business district places of Bangalore, and they've vandalized the most prominent shops over here, which contribute greatly, in fact, to Karnataka's economy. We have one of the most iconic fashion designer shops, Shantanu Nikhil. In fact, if you look at the image over there, the Shantanu Nikhil that is written in English, that has been taken down.
The violent protest by the KRB workers took the Bengaluru police by surprise. Authorities said they were not expecting such vandalism and assured tightened security. Earlier, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah had said that the establishments will have to comply with the Kannada signboard order before February 28. With Anagha Keshav in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, with that, I'm going to go into a quick break. On the other side is lined up a very special interview with Justice Sanjay Kaul, who retired on the 25th of December, himself authoring many path-breaking judgments. That's coming up next.
India Today magazine's 48th anniversary special with the She List. 100 exceptional women redefining India's narrative. From leaders in business and politics to champions in education, health and sports. Witness their resilience and impact with India Today, making sense of India. Read the full issue of India Today magazine anniversary special. Log on to subscription.indiatoday.in.
इन लोगों का जो पूरा के पूरा ये चिक किचकिच दिखाई पड़ रही है, ये 24 के चौराहे से 34 के चौक पर पहुंचने की चाल है, इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है। अब 24 में मालूम है कि 24 के चुनावी चौपाल पे कोई वैकेंसी है नहीं, तो धीरे धीरे जो है वो कांग्रेस की खटारा गाड़ी में खुर्राट सवारी बैठ करके और 34 के रास्ते पे चल रहे हैं। उन्हें मालूम है कि 34 में भी क्या होगा। इसीलिए हमने कहा ना कि अभी इनके आपस में जितनी सुरफुटौल है, जितने इनके गठबंधन में विरोधाभास है, जितनी महत्वाकांक्षी टकरार है, वो सामने दिखाई पड़ रही है।
मुंबई बैठक में यूं भी सभी 28 दलों ने तय किया था कि किसी को भी चेहरा नहीं बनाया जाएगा। दिल्ली बैठक में अनावश्यक कुछ साथियों ने ऐसा किया, अब उस पर बयानबाजी शुरू हो गई है।
नीतीश कुमार जी को बहुत बड़ा पद मिल चुका है। वो इस गठबंधन के निर्माता हैं और जातिगत जनगणना और आरक्षण का कोटा बढ़ाने के बाद वो 2024 में जो मुद्दे होंगे उसके भी निर्माता हो गए।
I have with me Justice Sanjay Krishna Kaul, who after a 7-year tenure, a successful tenure on the Supreme Court, retired on the 25th of this month. He himself has authored many path-breaking judgments, and today he joins us to possibly reflect on the institution that he belongs to, and in context of where it stands today and how it's perceived. Appreciate you joining us, sir. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out. You're in truly retirement spirit in a Firan this morning. So what are the retirement plans?
So, do things which I have not been able to get time to do. Spend more time with the family, especially my grandchildren, of which my children have a complaint. I didn't give them enough time. Travel is a hobby for me, and so I would wish to travel in the country, outside, see places where I have not seen.
So lead the quintessential retired life.
And do some work to keep my mind occupied.
Do some work. Now, will that work possibly entail Justice Kaul if the government offers you a government post?
No.
No? You're very clear, no?
Yeah. I'm happy as I am. I would like to live a private citizen's life. I have many of these interests, so I don't think it fits in with my scheme of thought process what I should do.
May I ask you a question, Justice Kaul? Then what are your views on possibly government appointments after retirement? Should there be a cool-off period?
See, a constitutional position like a judge who has worked his way through should be able to take his call what he thinks is proper or not. Okay. For example, there are judicial posts. Now, I don't want to take them. Somebody else may be doing a service by taking them. That's his or her call. Whether to occupy a position offered, whether a judge should take, not take, whether what should be a cool-off period. It's a very individual call, I think. It just doesn't fit in with my scheme of things.
It's not for you?
No, it's not for me.
Justice Kaul, I want to start with maybe your last judgment, which was Article 370. Now, as a Kashmiri yourself, you've spoken about, the important observation in that is, you've talked about generational trauma, you've talked about displaced Kashmiris, you've talked about finding a solution. Now, what exactly could that solution be?
So, 30 years there has been a generational trauma of the group of people who were compelled to migrate because of the scenario, and then trying to control law and order situation, which was normally the local police's job. The army had to be brought in because of extraterritorial problems which were arising from across the border. In that process, some people have suffered. So a whole generation has grown without understanding each other as they used to live. So my suggestion was that let there be acknowledgement of what has gone wrong. Not from a criminal punitive point of view, but from appreciating that something. Let's not be in a denial mode this has not happened. Or for the wrong reasons we say this has not happened. That is necessary for the people to accept that something like this happened, should not have happened.
Sir, there's also been criticism with the judgment, and that criticism possibly stems from the fact because there's a section which says it undermines federalism.
Kashmir cannot be equated with any other part of the country, I believe. I don't think in any way it dilutes federalism for the south, the north, the east, the west. Kashmir was a peculiar problem by itself, politically. If you see how Kashmir came into India, it's a historical fact. So the amalgamation process into India was a slower process envisaged constitutionally, and that's how it began, and that's how it's carried on. Now, should it have occurred or should not it have occurred is something which was a political decision. And in our opinion, this was something which was in sync with the law. There will be, of course, different point of view. Every judgment carries a different point of view. That's what a debate is about. But 5 people in their wisdom thought that is how it should be done. That's all I can say.
You know, you talk about a debate in your retirement, Justice Kaul, you've reignited a debate which speaks of, the National Judicial Appointment Commission, where you've stated that possibly it was too early to strike it down, that it had merit.
So this statement of mine is based on the experience I've seen in the post-NJC period. We had a 1950 to 1990 period where a particular mode of appointment used to take place. Chief Justice with the government in power. The collegium system was brought in judicially for good reasons, I believe. It worked well for a considerable period of time. At some stage, the political dispensation felt that they wanted to have a bigger role and they brought in the NJC. NJC had its own problems. I'm not saying problems didn't exist, and that's why possibly it was set aside. Now, question is, should it have been set aside? Should it have been given time? Should it have been tweaked? Personally, my belief is it could have been tweaked by taking care of the biggest concern, which is that the appointment process should not result in a logjam or an overplay of the government role, because in a 6-member committee, there were 3 judges. So what if a 3:3 logjam occurs? That was the concern. If it was 5, even eminent lawyers said it could have been worked out. Maybe it's my thought that if it had been given, a Chief Justice should have been given a casting vote in it. It could have maybe tweaked that problem by tweaking it. The law did not say so, but it would require judicial tweaking. After that, appointments must be made, would be the second stage. So why I say so? Because this period of time there has been certainly a feeling among the political class and the government that judges appoint judges, and therefore our role is being compromised.
So, Justice Kaul, you'd say that the NGC was a good idea with modifications?
Yes, it could have been modified. Now, as I said, one method was the whole NGC debate became, is this right or is that wrong? Instead of trying to find a path through. Maybe from the government side, it could have been said that some modifications could have worked out on suggestions. Maybe the judiciary could have permitted it to work for some time and then tweaked it, or tweaked it in the beginning. These are all possibilities in hindsight, I must say. But it would help in, I think, the appointment process.
Okay.
Seeing how it has ultimately worked out post the NJC being quashed.
You know, judicial appointments have been controversial, but they've also been linked to the independence of the judiciary somewhat. You've yourself you've headed the collegium in High Court. You've been part of the collegium in Supreme Court. What, according to you, have been chinks in the collegium? You know, in layman terms, a lot of people would say there's a certain amount of, in politics you call it bhai bhatijavad. Do you think that was one of the issues?
I think one thing is that the process is not understood. So when you say transparency of the system, we can't sit in a glass house and appoint judges. But there is a process. There's a process of consultation with the judges. At least I have followed in 2 courts process of consultation with judges across the board, even the junior judges. I would say because you have come from the bar, give some suggestions. From the right-thinking members of the bar, give their inputs. Informally consult the IB. I personally would do it to find out, is there something very, very obviously which would be a problem while making an appointment of a judge. Sit down with the collegium, collect a name, maybe collect 100 names, then slowly water it down to different levels. See the representation character which is necessary. It can be caste community issues, it can be gender issues, and then work out a list. And it did work. I don't have a complaint on it, because from Tamil Nadu, which has been a great testing ground for me, a very satisfying ground for me, I recommended 60 names over 2.5 years. 46 were appointed as judges of this court, of that court. Punjab Haryana recommended 16, 14 were appointed as judges. So it's not judges were not being appointed. But over a period of time, what I found was that the time being taken is too long, and it's not got it sorted out, the whole problem. So in that sense, I have a great satisfaction. I don't know how many Chief Justices would have an opportunity to serve this long and appoint 60 judges to 2 high courts.
But sir, the counter to that also comes from the fact that there's been criticism of the collegium of promoting their own.
So what is promoting their own? If somebody has been a judge and his son has to be considered, I don't think there is a bar. But I put a simple test. I said, if he is the son of a ward of a judge and he is good he has to be 10% better than the others. That's how I used to look at it.
What do you think led to the breakdown where at least the government and the collegium came into being? Was it like a communication problem, trust deficit? How do you look at it?
Government wants to play a bigger role, let me say it this way. They feel we have a role because we are the elected representatives. And in the judiciary, they feel like we are doing what the collegium system says. My concern has been whatever system prevails must be operated. So if NJC was prevailing, we will operate the NJC. If a collegium system is prevalent and what is law of the land is laid down by the Supreme Court as the final arbiter. Now, if this is the law, then the appointment must go through this process. That's been a little, difference of opinion I've had at times with the government on this issue.
You know, there's an old saying which goes on to suggest that if the judiciary is strong, the government's weaker. If the government's strong, the judiciary is weaker. How do you, in the current context, the government is strong.
I'll rephrase it. Whenever there is always a little tough war which goes on, okay, it's bound to occur by the reason of space you occupy. Because of the role the judiciary plays of a check and balance on an elected government. So wherever there have been coalition governments, judiciary may have forayed a little ahead. Wherever strong governments are, the pushback has been more. That's the historical part from 1950 onwards.
Has there been a pushback with this government?
Well, they want to play a bigger role, certainly. They feel that they are entitled to play a bigger role because they've been elected with a large mandate.
I want to just move away now and talk about, in the recent past, there have been judgments, a number of judgments at that, be it marriage equality, be it the governor-state standoff, be it the Maharashtra politics, be it even what we spoke of, which is Article 370. When you look at the observations, they are so strong. And when it comes down to the final test, the final push, it seems the Supreme Court or the bench has fallen short to deliver, where the final push comes into play.
So in courts, a lot of observations come. They arise from arguments. They arise from tentative thought process on it. The idea is to elicit answers. That doesn't mean the court has formed its view. Often that is misconstrued as an expression of view. While, there can be two kinds of judges. There can be a judge who is completely silent. Most dangerous, according to me. And you'll ask the bar, they'll say so. Because you don't get, if the judge doesn't speak, he doesn't know what is troubling the mind of the judge to answer it. So, from a lawyer's point of view, it is something which he will not like. He would like the judge to say. And if he says something, he has a chance to respond and reply. But a non-legal man may say, look, this is an expression of view which has taken place. Why is he backtracking on it? Also, it's not always, when a judgment closes, sometimes you have not made your decision. It has happened at times I have sat down to pen down a judgment and I said, look, let me take the view as I go on. As you dictate, as you structure the judgment, you come to a view. This is not unusual. Sometimes you have made up your mind. Sometimes you have not made up your mind. The real problem is arising because of a more divisive society, which is a worldwide prevalent factor today. So this concept of either I am a bhakt or I am an opponent, or either my way or highway, creates this problem because judiciary is an arbiter. In that arbiter, it's the person who walks the middle path, I think.
In terms of observations, the very strong observations that come from the Supreme Court. In terms of, let's talk about the marriage equality. You were the one who authored, the decision on same-sex. Of course, the majority denied it. But the observations are so strong, but the deliverance, when it comes down to the verdict, is weak in perception.
So there are a lot of social context cases.
While some cases, like you pointed out, were socially relevant, the others are politically relevant.
Yes, they are politically relevant cases.
And in those cases, again,
the pressures in those cases, inter-party becomes very, very strong. So what is happening, if you see, a lot of these political cases, day in, day out, are coming before the Supreme Court. In a way, it is taking away time, sometimes I feel, for the Ramlal versus Shamlal matter, the poor chap who is pending in this court for the 13, 14 years, he doesn't get the result of a small dispute, which is there. But that's the general scenario, and that's what my belief is, that those cases need to be also addressed. And the heat generated becomes huge from both sides. It is reflective in the court also, what happens from the two sides. So in some sense, this is part of political battles which have to be reconciled by the court. But it has a ramification of some aspects of political battles which have to be fought by the parties outside the court. So the reservation I have sometimes is, don't bring the political battle into the court, not in the sense of what needs to be adjudicated, but there are issues to be debated only on the political plane. Sometimes one government is strong, sometimes there are balanced governments of the opposition. Today we undoubtedly have very strong government at the helm of the affairs. But that's a solution the opposition has to find.
But Justice Kaul, you've also said that the judiciary cannot occupy the space of the opposition. And you've said that a number of times.
Yes.
But the counter to that could also be that somewhere down the line, the judiciary is the conscience keeper of the Indian Constitution.
Absolutely.
So therefore, where many cases come into question, which are political in nature, and keeping in mind the political narrative outside, the solution would need to be found in the court. And that is where the criticism or the perception comes in that the court, goes all the way till a point but fails to deliver in the final leg. The observations are all there, but the judgment isn't.
So conscious keeper, yes, but it's not a conscious keeper of the oppositions, not a conscious keeper of the government, it's a conscious keeper of the Constitution. Now, in the implementation of the Constitution, particular paths need to be followed, to my mind. When I say that we can't play the role of the opposition is areas which are not really debatable in court, but are more of political nuances, must be debated in the political space. Aspects which are legal in character will naturally be debated, even if they are political in character, will be debated in the courts only. And the court can't shy away from taking a call on those. That's the job of the court. It's unfortunately the job is such that we are bound to displease somebody or the other. That happens whether in political space or otherwise. So on the lighter side, I often say that we imbibe the lawyer takes the negative energy of a dispute and passes on to the judge, and we imbibe the negative energy of what the dispute is about. So the relief which you get after retirement is that you leave this negative energy aside. But we have to take a call on those issues. That I have no doubt that if there is a legal issue, we will have to take a call. Maybe in terms of a weak opposition, sometimes the expectation is that we'll extend ourselves beyond a certain level, but we can't extend ourselves beyond what we would do, even if there was, say, a more balanced opposition and government in power.
You yourself have been, because we're talking about political cases in nature, and there have been quite a few of the recent past. But where, personally, where I've seen your own, judgments, you've been a big votary of personal liberty. You've given some massive decisions when it comes down to bail. There are a lot of cases in court today where political parties, political leaders are in question. Do you see the denial of bail at a constant, it seems to be the first line? What's your opinion on that?
So I feel there is a problem.
There is a problem.
The problem is that we can't substitute custody period for a conviction. It can't be that we may or may not get a conviction, but let's keep the person behind bars. So the whole object of taking a person into custody is to prepare at that time the case within the legal parameters. I'm talking simplistically, so that the person doesn't, you get all the material for prosecution necessary. You do not, the person doesn't try to influence the trial and such other established practices. But this can't be a prolonged affair. If the trial goes on, then the person must get bail. You are depriving his right. Tomorrow you don't get a conviction. How do you compensate him for the period he is in custody? So this whole culture that of a change from of a bail and not the jail was the rule. Are we evolving? I'm putting a question to myself. That the jail is the rule, the bail is an exception. I don't believe that's the correct position.
So, Justice Kaul, it is disconcerting for you that right from the lower court to the top court, their denial of bail is the rule of thumb, at least with what we are seeing now.
I am troubled by the way the bail jurisprudence is being handled. I am undoubtedly troubled by it. I don't know why the signals we have sent through various judgments still have not gone down to what we had expected it to be. I can only hope that the courts realize. In judicial academies, when I used to lecture, at times I used to tell them that if you think that giving dishonestly a bail is wrong, denying a bail is intellectual dishonesty if you feel the man deserves bail.
I'd ask you a leading question to this, which is in the political context, and you can choose it whichever way you'd want to answer it. You know, in some of your orders, you've barred the ED from taking action in cases and termed it as the agency overstepping its jurisdiction. You know, there was a notable order when the Supreme Court questioned the work being done by the CBI and ED and their high acquittal rates. Now, what do you think that can a mechanism be put in place to avoid that?
So these are premier investigative agencies, and their performance has to be of the highest order to my mind. So, for example, I frowned upon appeals by government being filed belatedly. Very openly I have frowned upon it, dismissed appeals. And I have not encouraged citation of judgment of early 1980s in a land acquisition case, because they were different time period. Today technology is available to everybody. So an efficient system must prosecute efficiently. That's my concern. If they prosecute efficiently, they'll see the result. If the results are not coming, is it not a matter for introspection from the government point of view? Why are we not completing the trial in the time we should, or getting the conviction rate which we should? I think it needs a rethink.
In your farewell speech, Justice Kaul, you know, and I'll two very different contexts, but I'll bring them up. You said a judge needs to be bold, one, and the other thing which you said was there's intolerance rising. What do you mean by both?
Bold in the sense, we blame the executive, saying that, look, you don't take a call. Because the executive may face, he has his own problems, the bureaucrat, he feels that he should not pay something. We have a constitutional protection. We should not hesitate to give relief where due. When I joined this bench, one of the judges told me, and it's something close to my heart, he says, the litigant comes as a last resort to court, because he doesn't want to go through this labyrinth which is there. And if he is really entitled to 50, don't give him 45. He will lose faith in the system. Especially against the government, these are long battles to be carried. Intolerance, I'm saying, because
intolerance is a politically incorrect word. I'm sorry, I'm
intolerance in the sense that at every level, from a family unit level to a country level to an international level, the tendency to accept a point of view is a casualty, I feel. You know, everybody wants to, I want to say something, you're not listening. But are you listening? So people are not listening. That's the problem. You are not willing to listen to another point of view. Look at road rage cases, look at so many other scenarios. Why is it happening in our society? Have we become more, when I say intolerant to the smallest to the largest thing? People can coexist with a different point of view. In families, people used to exist. Husband and wife don't think alike. They do coexist. So, my reference to intolerance is in that context of not accepting another point of view and not listening enough that there can be another view which may be different for you. We are each entitled to our view.
My final question, sir. You know, you've had a long career. You've been on the bench for 22 years now. And in that, one of the most, I would reckon, fulfilling and the most challenging case for you?
I can't say singularly any case, but there are cases which are close to your heart, is what I say. So, MF Hussain and Perumal Murugan were close to something which was to my heart, because I believe that is what the right path is. Creating a permanent commission for women was another different matter, which I did in the High Court, was something again close to my heart. Privacy was another issue. 370 was another issue. So these are cases where you deal with sometimes social contexts. And I feel these are opportunities to reflect your view, because 90% cases arise from a normal routine scenario. And I think the greatest satisfaction of a judge is to write and reflect his point of view, like an author has, except that we have to be, the lawyers have to be brief and we have to be brief, because people are interested in solution of their problem. They are not interested in theorization from us.
Justice Kaul, I wish you well and a blessed retirement, and thank you for joining us. And we do hope to see you in some form in public life, because you know, you've been so for so long.
No, thank you. If there is something which I have to say, I'll say. Certainly. I've not hesitated on the bench, I think, to say what I feel to say.
That
I
is
don't
correct.
think, minus that, I will hesitate.
Well, that is correct. And thank you for taking the
Thank
time
you.
out for
Thank you so
joining
much.
us on India Today. Well, that's it. That's a wrap with Anisha Mathur. This is Preeti Choudhry in Delhi for India Today.
With several opposition leaders now boycotting the consecration ceremony, citing what they call politicization of the event by BJP. Despite a personal invite from Ram Mandir Construction Committee Chief Nripendra Mishra, CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri is set to skip Mandir unveiling. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad was quick to brand Sitaram Yechuri as a communist who hates Bhagwan Ram. Not just left, Samajwadi Party Muslim face and MP Shafiqur Rahman Barq called Ram Temple unveiling a black day, calling it forcible seizure of Babri Mosque. Opposition also attacked BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for allegedly making the temple unveiling a political event. BJP said only those who got a divine calling from Ram will be able to reach Ayodhya. Will dirty politics mar the biggest faith event of the year? With Ashutosh Mishra in Delhi and Samarth Srivastav in Ayodhya, Bureau Report, India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 25 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 34 and minimum 24 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 28 and minimum 16 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 26 and minimum 17 degrees. Chennai, maximum 30 and minimum 23 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 29 and minimum 16 degrees.